Hello everybody, this is CHIDERAMICHELLE and thank you for clicking on this video. For today, I really wanted to discuss the reunion part 1 of Real Housewives of Potomac. I know that I usually don't discuss this type of entertainment on here, but I really wanted to talk about this reunion in particular. So I've been watching the season, and I usually do not watch Real Housewives of Potomac. I'm more of a Real Housewives of Atlanta fan. But I just got into Beverly Hills, and I was like, all right, so I guess I'll give Potomac a try. My initial thoughts when I first started watching the show was that I really didn't understand why Karen, Giselle, and Robin and Ashley are like the quote-unquote favorites, because from the first couple of episodes, they didn't seem very entertaining to me. And looking back at old clips of them, and from previous season, looking back at old clips of them from previous seasons, it doesn't seem to me that they have ever been interesting. I think that the most interesting parts of the past seasons has been Monique, Candace, and Mia, maybe Ashley sometimes, but honestly, the rest are kind of forgetful. Even Wendy is not very interesting to me. I mean, she has an interesting career, but she doesn't really give much, but she's a beautiful woman and I'm going to give her a chance. But in terms of Karen and Giselle and Robin, it's very snooze for me when it comes to them. But that's neither here nor there. Well, it is kind of here and there because that's very relevant to this season and this reunion in particular. So when we first get into the episode of part 2 of the reunion, we are looking at them getting ready. And of course, Giselle and Robin are together. Predictable. To me, I think that they are always together because they feel, and I guess the audience feels like they're more interesting when they are together, because when they're apart, they are boring, which is honestly a problem, because if you can't survive on your own as a Real Housewife without your sidekick or your B in command or A in command, then I don't think you belong on the show. The best housewives are ones that can stand alone. Nene Leakes, Portia Williams, Kenya Moore, and the list goes on and on. If you can't stand on your own, you should not be on this show. And so it is very obvious to me that these two women cannot stand on their own and that they need each other to come off somewhat interesting or entertaining on this show. We have Karen. Karen, she's getting ready, and Andy asks her about Charisse. Charisse is boring. Karen was kind of boring this season. She didn't really give much. She was very much trying to stay in the middle, and staying in the middle on a reality show about drama is not entertaining, and it's also boring. So I know that there's a lot of Karen stans out there, but I would like you guys to explain to me why you think Karen is interesting. I mean, the reads are cute. They're not amazing. They're not Nene season 5 level, but I mean, they're good enough. But to me, I feel like she would be more entertaining if she picked a side. Ashley's messy, but she also lies a lot. So there's that, but a lot of Real Housewives lie a lot, so I'm not going to give her too much on that. Mia lies a lot. And it's giving Jen Shah vibes for me. And Wendy is Wendy, and Candace is spoiled. So let's get into the reunion, shall we? So when the reunion starts, they sit down and are discussing the seating chart. I saw on Twitter that the seating chart was a big deal. I personally did not understand the seating chart. For one, I did not understand why Giselle and Karen were first seats, considering that they were boring and didn't have a storyline all season. I mean, Karen's storyline was Charisse chasing her around, and Giselle's storyline was lying on people's husbands, which is what she does every year. So if that's interesting enough to get you first chair, I guess. Me personally, I feel like Candace should have been first chair, and maybe Ashley, and then the rest, they figure it out. But to me, it did not make any sense that Karen and Giselle were first chair, because they gave the least amount of anything this season. Robin should always be last. Anyway, so they get into the fashions of it all, the updates of it all, and we get into Ashley and her ex-husband slash husband slash sponsor slash pretend daddy slash uncle slash sponsor slash whatever you name it. Husband is like bare minimum. And the fact that, you know, she did not really handle her finances and her contracts and her prenups and postnups very well whilst she's trying to date. And she's trying to set boundaries for her soon to be, not really to be ex-husband while he is continuing to date, while also, who was also dating while they were married. And I don't know. A very confusing storyline for me. I feel like there's so many missing parts to this that just do not make sense. And it makes it very frustrating and exhausting to watch because it doesn't make any sense. And I don't understand why we are wasting our time discussing it, because if Ashley did not have Michael Darby, she would be irrelevant as well. She'd be just another Giselle and Robin just existing and not really giving much. So Michael is the most entertaining part of her story, and the fact that he's not showing up anymore, yikes. But yeah, she's basically not going to get any money, not going to get anything after the divorce, and she kind of shot herself in the foot because she was expecting more than what she was going to get. But she should have crossed her T's and dotted her I's before she decided to get pregnant by this 80-year-old man who's been divorced before. Even Mia knew that. Moving on, they discuss Ashley trying to say that Candace was like the least accomplished. If anybody's accomplished on this cast, and if anybody is the most accomplished on this cast, it is Wendy and Candace. Like, that's literally not questionable at all. They have the most degrees. They have the most going for themselves outside of just being reality stars. They have multiple jobs outside the show. Everybody else really doesn't do anything. So, yikes. I mean, she tried it, but I think that there was a little bit of like a ego boost for Ashley to feel like she was better than somebody when she is like not in any way whatsoever. She's not. She doesn't look better than Candace. She doesn't act better than Candace. She doesn't have a better career than Candace. She doesn't have better marriage than Candace. Like, literally nothing is better. So I think that the number one problem with Ashley and Candace is the fact that Ashley is extremely jealous of Candace and all her success and her beauty and what she's accomplished in this world. And the fact that Ashley is the total opposite. Her expectations were way higher than what she actually has in reality. What else do we get into? So then we move on to Mia. This whole Mia situation is very confusing to me. I just feel like Mia, whatever is going on with her is very true. And I think that what bites her in the butt is the fact that she lies so much that anytime she does kind of tell the truth or is mixing up the truth with a lie, nobody believes her. Because I honestly do believe that she has some control, and that the things that are happening with Gordon and his family and with Mia and the control and the joint chiropractic is very serious. And that I think she bit off more than she could chew with having so many properties that she doesn't own and things like that. And I think that because Mia lies so much, and she lied so much throughout the season and last year, that anything that she says that is remotely true will not be believed, because she is now known as a liar. So what's happening with her and her situation with her businesses is unfortunate, and it sucks a lot. Like, when you take out the whole Mia situation and the fact that Mia is a biatch, what she's going through is sad, and it's a lot, and that's a lot of loss to deal with in such a short span of time, and to deal with that on television. And she's sharing that more than Giselle would, and has. And I find that commendable, even though I don't like Mia. So hopefully she gets through that. Hopefully they add her back as a CEO, COO, part owner, / not an owner / partner / I don't know. But whatever it is, I hope it settles by next season. But I think that they're going to chew her ass up next season, because this is a very funny thing to talk about. And it's like easy bait. It's easy. Like, it's easy. It's an easy thing to make fun of. Andy kind of shades the fact that Giselle doesn't share anything, even though Mia shared so much, and that's why I think that Mia belongs on Real Housewives of Potomac, and Giselle does not, because Mia is willing to share so much, and Giselle shares nothing while you're on a real reality show about your life. Doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I guess you're pretty, so I guess that takes you far long enough, but this is not a pageant. This is a reality show. So you need to bring more than just your green eyes, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And the same goes with Robin, and the fact that she had a whole storyline and she hit it and she didn't say anything, but decided to kiki and caca at Wendy and bring recordings of Candace talking ish. Moving forward. In the words of Misha and my own IMO, moving forward. Anyway, so what else happened after that? And they're messing with Mia. They kind of try to shade Wendy with the whole breaking the fourth wall and her saying that Mia was lying. Listen, everybody talks about everybody behind their back. It's unrealistic to expect not. And we're going to sit up here and act like Robin and Giselle and any of them don't talk shit about each other behind their back. It's just the fact that Wendy got caught. Wendy never said she believed her. Wendy was just like, okay, y'all are shading her to her face, telling her that she's lying to her face. That's rude. It's not nice. But I'm going to tell the producer, hot mic, hey, I think she's lying. But hey, I think that Robin's wrong for rubbing it in her face. Two things can be true at the same time. Is it snake-like behavior? Maybe. But is it still like kind of warranted and justified? Yeah, because you lied. So there's that. What else happened? So then we finally get into the kind of like the meat and potatoes of the episode, even though there were so many commercials for this reunion. I was like, wow, there's a lot of commercials. But we get into Giselle and Candace and the whole Chris debacle, and the fact that, listen, Giselle was never Candace's friend. If Giselle was actually Candace's friend, if she actually felt uncomfortable, she could have come to Candace right away. Could have come to Candace right after the reunion ended. Could have come to Candace at her house. She knows where she lives. Called her on the phone. Called Chris on the phone. Had a discussion at a dinner. Anything. They met multiple times. She didn't say anything. She decided to say something. She decided to say something on camera because she knew it would be good bait and that it would make for an entertaining show. It bit her in the ass because she came off as more of an asshole, and she came off as a liar and as someone who would lie on men multiple times because she's done that before. So this is a pattern, like they said, and this just ended a friendship that never really existed. But I also think that it's just so... It was the dismissive air of Giselle and the fact that I guess she didn't see the seriousness of it, even though she wanted to be taken serious. She didn't see the seriousness of the accusation, even though she wanted to be taken serious for the accusation. And Ashley, whose husband has been accused of sexual assault that has actually happened on camera, is so lackadaisical about the fact that Giselle says she's uncomfortable and knew that Giselle... not only exaggerated but lied on him multiple times about multiple stories, and was like, well, that's just what Giselle does. No, that's not something that you should do. You shouldn't lie on men. You shouldn't say that men are touching your ass when they're not, because that's a huge accusation that could get somebody fired, ruin their life, and ruin their whole entire career, which I'm sure that some of that has probably happened to Chris by the preview that we see for probably next week or next week after next episode. So she's trying to ruin multiple men's lives on multiple seasons. And it's just kikied off as just something Giselle does. That is a level of privilege that I do not want. Very Karen-like behavior. I'm not talking about Karen on the show. I'm talking about Karen-like behavior for you to do something like that to a man who is obviously somebody that you know. And if you would have told him, hey, I don't like this, I'm sure that he probably would have corrected himself in that moment and would have behaved properly in a way that you wanted him to, if you actually did feel the way that you did. So I believe that everything that Candace said after that, telling her to kiss her ass, all these things, shoved the apology up her ass, the things about the uterus, I do believe that it was warranted, and I do believe that Candace had every right to feel the way that she did, because it's been going on for a year of this woman lying on her husband and her, and has brought multiple other women along for the ride of lying on her husband. That is some shiesty ass shit, and it's very serious. And I don't see them ever being friends again. I don't believe that they actually were. So I believe that this is kind of like a Candace eat up. Candace, you believing that Giselle actually liked you is actually laughable, because she never did. She never will. She's only loyal to herself. I don't believe that Giselle is loyal to Robin like that, because I do believe that if Robin does not bother Giselle so much, that Giselle would throw Robin under the bus if she had the opportunity to. So I do believe that loyalty only goes for so long when it comes to Robin. I believe that Robin is kind of like naive, or like willfully ignorant to the people who are closest to her, i.e. Giselle and Juan, because neither one of those people like her. Juan don't like her. It's just like, come on, man. None of this is real. But anyway, hopefully part 2 is just as interesting. I really enjoyed this part 1 of the reunion. I really didn't like the season like that. I was kind of like expecting a lot more, because the air and the comments that I see on Twitter are like, oh my God, Potomac is so much better than Atlanta, and I'm just like, is this what it's supposed to give? Because it's not really giving what y'all said it was going to give, and I'm kind of disappointed. But I guess this part 1 of the reunion was kind of cute. So cute that I had to talk about it, even though I don't talk about reality shows. But I was like, you know what? I'll buy it. I'll talk about this. So let me know what you guys think of the part 1 of the reunion. Let me know if you want to hear more of my thoughts next week on part 2 of the reunion. And thank you for watching, and subscribe, like this video, and peace.